I fell into the field of design almost by accident. It was really never my intention to kind of study design or to work in the design field. After 15 years really of working in design but never really acknowledging it, I had created websites, databases, and a whole bunch of other technologies and businesses to kind of go along with them, but never really considered design as being part of my work. But I really think that the field of design helps us capture the variety of different decision points that happen whenever we're creating something new. It's really about your intentions. What do you intend to do when you set out to try to achieve a goal? And design is really wrapped up in exactly that. What is your goal? What are the decisions you make along the way to achieving that goal? And what are the sort of outputs and outcomes that result from that process? Now, I say outputs and outcomes for a very specific reason here, because when we think about outputs, we can think about the direct result of a process. So what is produced during a process? So if we're creating a website, the output is a website. Outcomes are kind of secondary, broader impacts that occur after your output has been produced. So when I think of outcomes, and we go back to the website example, output of the design process, creating a website is the website, but the outcome can be the impact that the website has on the people who are using it. So what does that look like? How have their daily lives changed? In design, the process of design, as well as those outcomes and outputs, comes down to being very critical and kind of scrutinizing our decisions, the decisions that we make along that process, and trying to understand how do our decisions affect the output, so what we've created, and how do our decisions affect the outcome, so the impacts that our products have created. So again, let's go back to the website. If I make a decision on a website, I'm creating a website, I make a decision to include a video on that website. The output is that video embedded in some way on that website, but the outcome is the ways in which people interact with that video. And that decision-making process that occurs along the way of producing that website and that content can significantly impact the experience of the people who use it if I'm not taking into consideration that impact on them. And I think in technology development, we get hung up a lot on the output side of things. We want like a list of requirements, but more or less a recipe that we can follow as tech developers and then produce an output, and that's it. End of story. But I think we can take it one step further and really think critically when we're talking about design and consider those outcomes. What are the experiences of the people who are using this website? We can talk about the same thing in business. If I think about the business development process and I think about the output, well, the output might be registering your new business, or it might be the business model itself, or it might be the web presence of the business. It could be many different outputs. But the outcome is kind of the impacts of the business on the users, on the people whose lives are affected by your products or services, as well as on society as a whole, as well as on the planet, as well as all the different dimensions that are related to your business. And so if I was developing a business model and I wanted to make sure that there's definitely a market for my service, then I would want to make sure that I interview people who would be my potential customers, whether that's other businesses or consumers themselves. But if I neglect to kind of take into consideration my suppliers, then the business that I create may not be economically or socially or environmentally sustainable, because I haven't taken into consideration the entire supply chain and looked just at my consumers, just at my customers. So it's important when we're taking design into consideration that we're not just looking on the output side of things, but we're looking on the outcome side of things as well, and that we're really taking design seriously, because all of those decisions can really affect what we produce and how that changes the world around us. So I really think about design not only as the conscious decisions, but also the unconscious, the subconscious decisions that we make along the way. I may not intend to damage the planet when I create my new business, but because I haven't thought about contacting my suppliers to see if they're using a environmentally sustainable materials or manufacturing processes, then I may have a negative impact on the environment on the outcome side of things, just because I didn't really take time to think about those decisions. So design is really about making subconscious decisions conscious and about deliberating over those decisions. And I've been lucky because I am born in a way that most products and services don't really have a negative effect on me. I can use most things, and I've experienced the products and services that I use in a very easy, kind of basic, simple way. But there are a lot of people out there who don't have that same experience, and you might be one of them. And I think it's really important that when we talk about design, that really we face the fact that our implicit biases and the things that happen in our subconscious kind of affect the output of what we've created and the outcome of how people's lives are affected by those things that we create.